Simple reason that last round of overseas tours 2013 and 14 he was probably the most consistent batsman as far as Indian batsmen are concerned, and in a crucial position which was as an opener. Now he has got very good temperament, plays with a lot of patience and perfect technique, whereas today I think the technique was exposed, because very few times early on in his innings, while he's a very risky player early on in innings, Murali Vijay always looks to play in the V, whereas today he just closed the face of the bat. And credit to Jimmy Anderson right from the first ball, and that's what you expect from the great bowlers. Whether Stuart Broad didn't start off well in the first over, but Jimmy Anderson right from the first ball he was asking tough questions to the batsman and used the conditions really well. So I thought Murali Vijay, seeing that wicket, will be really disappointed. The downflow of the bat was not perfect as he would have liked it to be.
Okay, talking about Murali Vijay, what happened to the Murali Vijay who used to leave the balls? We're missing that Murali Vijay.
Yeah, it's a strange one actually. One of the reasons for his success, maybe a couple of years back or till couple of years back overseas, was because he changed his game. It was early on in his career, he was a little bit flashy or guy who liked to drive the ball on the rise a little bit. He changed that game, had a fair bit of success when India travelled, whether it was in Australia or when they came to England the last time. Something seems to have sort of gone back a little bit. Seems to be playing at balls a lot more these days like he did early on in his career, and that's why you can see the low scores that he's having at the moment in test matches. It's not easy just playing one format of the game at times, but he had changed his game. So it's a strange one. I mean, something that's brought you success, why would you want to change it then and go back to your old style? Maybe it's happened without him actually knowing it,
right,
but it's certainly happened.
Okay, Toby, we talk about how sometimes it really helps in these conditions to leave the ball, but just talking about Jimmy Anderson and the angle that he bowls from slightly wide off the stumps, is it sometimes really tough for a batsman to leave those deliveries because you just tend to get the feeling that the ball might be coming in?
I certainly think that's the case. I think what we saw from him starting up was just immaculate control of not just his line and the direction, but also of the swing. It's one thing to get the ball swinging in conditions like that, but it's another to constantly be asking questions. And yeah, like you mentioned, I think the tougher thing with Jimmy is you do feel like even though he's generally looking to swing the ball away, he's still got a chance of threatening the stumps and probably draws batsmen into shots that they don't need to play outside of the off stump. So, that's I think why he likes bowling from the pavilion end as well, with that slope, suggesting that the ball might, go back down the slope, back into the batsman. It poses a lot of questions, and yeah, he was immaculate from the off, really.
You've played against Jimmy Anderson. What makes him such a tough commodity?
I think consistency, because more number of balls you bowl up, especially in conditions which help the swing bowlers, I think it becomes really difficult, and the number of loose deliveries which he gives is very less. So you almost have to exhibit a lot of patience, and this is what he is so good at, not even one ball on the leg stump. And that's something which the youngsters may err, because whenever there's too much of swing, they look to start from almost middle and leg and bowl that beautiful delivery. But Jimmy Anderson knows his strength and sticks to the strength, and also the angle from which he releases the ball. Because I remember getting out twice in the 2011 test series, very similar to the way KL Rahul probably got out. Even though it was not outside the edge, I was bowled twice, because wide of the crease, he releases the ball almost, when you see the wrist, the ball is coming into the right-hand batsman, but he actually uses the wrist to great effect, just like the way Ben Stokes also did at Birmingham. And then in the air, the ball may actually come into the right-hander, but once it pitches, it leaves the right-hander, and that's why exposing the outside edge, or you're playing inside the line instead of playing outside the line, and that's the beauty. And he uses the crease to great effect. And consistency, the more number of balls you bowl, you pitch the ball up, the more chances you have to take wickets. Okay,
Ajit, talk to us as a bowler, as he says, with that wrist position, is that an art too, to get the ball to deviate out?
Yeah, I mean, outswing's a natural ball, like Toby said, but it's the angles that he uses on the crease. I mean, like Lakshman said, a lot of the times when you go wider of the crease, it naturally creates an angle where the batsman feels the ball's coming towards you. And even though it's a good foot outside off stump, because of that angle, you tend to play at it. And then the consistency, I mean, just relentless in, first ball that he's bowled, you could see once he realized how much was on offer, he just doesn't let a batsman relax. I mean, every time you relax as a batsman, he's bowling a wicket-taking ball. So, that's why he's got what 1,000 wickets, I think.
Yeah.
And tells you how good he's been over the years. I mean, that next session again, India will have to be very watchful.
Okay, we're just taking a look at the record that Jimmy Anderson has at this particular ground, Lords, and it's the length that we were talking about. He really knows, seldom did we see the Indian batsman go onto the back foot because of the length that Jimmy Anderson was bowling. Toby, I'd like your view on that. He understands the best way to bowl on this particular track is to really keep the batsman coming onto the front foot. That's what Jimmy Anderson does best.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in these conditions, as the guys were saying, his ability to be consistent and to bowl his best ball as often as possible really comes to the fore. Yeah, I think length is something which seems to come quite naturally for him. I think normally he might vary his getting a little bit straight, a bit of width, but I think he seems to have such a gift at just holding that length, which the batsmen struggle to really get too far forward and at the same time can't shuffle back. So yeah, it's something really special to watch, I think, when he's in this mood and is able to bowl with the control that he's got. And certainly India will be hoping that the next time that they take the field that there'll be some sunnier skies overhead and hopefully a little bit less assistance for him, because he looked like he was in the mood for sure.
Okay, we spoke about, VVS, come to you. We spoke about Murli Vijay could have played a better shot. KL Rahul, could he have done anything? Or was that a beauty?
No, it was a beautiful ball. Just because of the angle Jimmy Anderson creates, and if you see the footwork of KL Rahul, it was perfect. It's just that because of the angle, he was almost forced to play at the ball. Which we discussed before the start of this game. You get out of good deliveries, it's fine, because you're playing against quality bowlers, conditions in favor of them. And I thought it was a good delivery from KL Rahul.
Just one thing, I mean, again, not a natural lever of the ball, is he? KL Rahul likes to get bad on ball. Could that make a difference? I mean,
yeah, I think it's changed, especially with him playing a lot of T20 cricket and trying to get better at T20 cricket. And if you see KL Rahul of the past, or when you see KL Rahul growing up as a Ranji Trophy player or first-class cricketer, he had a lot of patience, almost very conventional 4-day or a 5-day batsman, taking time, giving the first 1-2 hours to the bowler, and slowly his innings blossoms. But because he wanted to be regarded as one of the best players as far as white ball cricket is concerned, stroke play becomes very important when you have to be successful in T20 or ODI. So in trying to do that, I think there's a very fine line being aggressive, and that's when the shot selection is very important. And if you see, not only in English conditions or the way he got out in the first match or even today, even in India or even in at Joburg or Centurion, the shots with which he was getting out doesn't really reflect on the temperament KL Rahul has. And that's something which he should be mindful of, because as an opener, one of the responsibility of an opener is to make sure that he consumes a lot of deliveries, not necessarily become over defensive, but occupy the crease. And the first 1 hour or first 1.5 hours should be given to the bowler, because bowler is on top, the conditions favor him. New ball always, especially in overseas conditions, put a lot of it's a challenge for the batsman. So I think it's very important for him to be a little circumspect, little patient, and he's got enough shots to compensate later on.
All right, we were talking about KL Rahul, Murli Vijay, the two batsmen who have been dismissed on that session one. Both of them, if you take a look at outside Asia in Tests since 2016, haven't had a great record. KL Rahul with an average of 29, and Murli Vijay, as we were talking a short while earlier, he's the one who's really struggled outside Asia with an average of 13.50. Now at the moment, Ajit, we've got Pujara on the crease, and let's talk about him. The sword's been hanging over his head. Now, one pressure of course performing, the other, there's going to be rain, so you'll have play, you have to keep sitting in the dressing room. How does he approach this particular match?
Can't do much about the weather anyway. I think when he was out there, he looked what he does best, tried to hang there, which is what India exactly need at this point. I mean, and Virat Kohli, I'm sure will just play naturally like he does, but Pujara is going to be key. I mean, the more they take the shine of the ball, the Duke's ball does keep swinging for a lot longer. They need a bit of sun out there. They'd ideally like some sun to be out, and for again, even if the sun's out, the next hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours from what little we saw in that first session, is still going to be tough. Pujara's got to play his own game. I don't think he needs to compete with Virat Kohli or somebody else. Has to approach the way his own batting's built.
Okay, since we were talking about Pujara, the talk before this test series was Pujara's strike rate. But now you would need that Pujara, the one who can leave a lot of balls and then hang on onto the pitch.
I think strike rate doesn't exist in longer version of the game. What exists is what is your contribution with the bat. In the end, what is the score against your name? Because every player has got his own style of batting. Every player has got his own approach of getting runs. And it's not necessary that all the 6 batsmen or 7 batsmen will have a similar approach. But the way they get the runs ultimately will help the team to post a big total. So Pujara has got his own style of batting. Murali Vijay has got his own style of batting. And these 2 players are the ones who occupy the crease and which allows the other batsmen, other stroke players to come and play with a lot of freedom. But as far as Pujara is concerned, I believe this pair on the wicket very crucial because they have got the defensive technique like Pujara has, and also Virat Kohli is a man in form. Right. Because if they get out, then it exposes Ajinkya Rahane is not in good form, Dinesh Karthik coming back into the test 11, and then you got Hardik Pandya who will follow them. I think so. This pair is very, very crucial, and I think England will be looking to again create that early inroads so that they can have a very good day after winning the toss. Okay,
this pair is crucial, VVS says. Toby, to you, the thorn in England's flesh was a certain Virat Kohli in the first test match. He's now there pretty early. We've lost the 2 openers. Is this best time for England then to get that big fish?
Yes, certainly. Certainly. They would have had an aim of taking early wickets, and obviously knowing that would, bring Kohli in to hopefully expose him against, the newer ball and an in-form Anderson. So it's certainly, if we do get back out there today, it's going to be another really intriguing clash between those 2. He held the innings together so well in the first test match, and at one stage it looked like he was maybe going to be the difference between the 2 sides, with India coming out on top. And that obviously wasn't to be, so he'll be hungry for runs, certainly at Lord's as well. So I think you want to treat every batsman the same, but every bowler will also know that Kohli is the prize scalp out there, and we'll be looking to get him as early as possible for sure.
Alright, unfortunately the weather forecast isn't great on day 2 as well, but whatever little play we may have, cricket fans would be licking their lips to watch Jimmy Anderson versus Virat Kohli, that battle play out on the cricket pitch. I'd like to thank all my 3 guests for joining us on this lunch show. For the moment, that's all that we have for you, but we leave you with Vodafone fan Rahul and how he's getting up for this match.
So many incredible things to do in this wonderful city of London. I've already seen Buckingham Palace, I've seen the London Zoo. In fact, I was lucky enough to witness the changing of the guards at Buckingham Palace. But let me tell you, the best is still yet to come. In fact, let me share with you, I've been sharing all these pictures and videos on my profile, and with unlimited data on Vodafone International roaming, it is just super fab and fantastic. So I'm going to upload a few more pictures. Have a look.